Well, hello there. Bet you guys didn't think it was going to start yet because the music was still going. Welcome back to the Build Show. Nope, 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 nope. You stop. You... Shh, shh. It's okay. I know you wanted to keep playing the Switch. We need to switch. The audio guys, you know, they just can't get... I mean, just... Could you just switch it back to the regular stuff? No, the stuff we always stream. I don't care if it's 10:30 at night. We're going live. Well, you're going to have to get used to it. We're going to be doing builds this late all the way through December. Thank you. Anyway, welcome back to the Build Show. I'm your host, Ben Astrino, over here at the Empower Gaming Studio. And tonight, we're not just doing any build. We're actually doing a case swap and an Intel to AMD swap. Now, I discovered just before the stream, we had a little bit of an issue. The cooler I purchased, because when you're doing an Intel to AMD swap, if you don't have your AMD brackets that came with the cooler originally, you can't use the original cooler that came with your Intel build. And this was a pre-build. The pre-build did not include the AMD brackets. So we can't use this cooler, which is on an Intel platform, for an AMD system. So that sucks. So guess what that means? Not only do we have to buy a new motherboard, new CPU, the AMD, new RAM, because this RAM is not on the QVL list for the CPU board combination we have. We also have to buy a cooler. And what brand is this, everybody asks? Well, this is, get ready, this is a PowerSpec. PowerSpec. If you're not familiar with PowerSpec, it's a Micro Center brand. So unfortunately, Micro Center made it impossible for the owner to reuse this cooler on the AMD platform. I mean, I guess they're not anticipating the typical person to come in here and swap it out to AMD, but the cooler comes with the brackets. Why don't you send it with the PC? It's kind of weird. This doesn't make sense. So, what's up, Onra? Welcome back to the Build Show. Is it a Cooler Master? Yes, that is a Cooler Master cooler that's currently in the build. We are not going to be using that one. We are going to replace it, which, extend the story, I was going to use an Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro for this build, but it's not here yet. And I actually just discovered that right before we started the stream. I was like, yeah, everything's gonna go great. And then I went and double verified everything. I'm like, where's the cooler? Ah, crap, it's not here. Went and looked in the orders. I ordered it. It's still in limbo, so I didn't catch that, unfortunately. I was sworn I checked it in, and everything in my head was like, yeah, everything's here, we're good. But we've been having a lot of that lately, where parts are either missing or show up open box when I ordered new, or just random crap, and it's getting frustrating. So thankfully I did have another 360mm AIO, which is of greater value than the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 when we're talking cost, which is the Lian Li Performance, Trinity Performance 360mm. And I'm not too worried about the RGB fans because we're going to replace those. I had planned to replace those on the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 anyway, to have the same fans throughout the entire build, and I do have those fans for the build. So, really, I guess the only thing that we would be missing out on is a little bit of the offset from the performance of the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, but I think it's gonna... I think they're pretty close. You usually argue with your PC like that. I'm not arguing with my PC, I'm arguing with the audio guy over there. Mr. Audio guy over there. Complaining about being up this late. Sorry guys. When all you do is work on computers, you start talking to yourself. Okay, so without further ado, our objective tonight is to move this build, transform it to an AMD, while transforming it to AMD, transplanting it into a Height Y70 Touch Infinite. Sound fun? All right, let's go. So honestly, in all reality, the only thing that's coming... Let's just... The only thing that's coming out of this case, or this build, is we have a new power supply, we have a new motherboard, we have new CPU, we have new RAM, we have a new cooler, we have new fans, we have new case. Literally, the only two things that are coming out of this is the storage and the graphics card. That's it. Everything else is staying. And he does plan to, I think, give this to somebody that he knows. I don't know for sure. But I do know that's going to happen. Oh yeah, it's one of these, by the way. One of these Leon League. Hopefully I don't break the glass. And honestly hate these designs. They're a big pain in the butt to deal with. Trying to get that off. You have to like wiggle the crap out of it, and I hate wiggling that connection. So we're going to start by removing the graphics card. It does look a little dusty, so we're going to probably give it a good cleanup before we put it in the new build. We don't want to put a dusty card inside the new build. It's got a little bit of dust to it. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but could use a little bit of a clean. And then for the storage, I could definitely see an SSD here under this one. I can't tell on the other one, so we'll have to double verify and make sure there isn't two. Usually with pre-builds, there's only one now. Very rare for us to come across two. But it's a 2 terabyte Western Digital Blue. We'll be swapping over. I'm gonna set it over here so I don't lose that. We are planning to reformat. I'm going to double verify and pull this heat spreader off. I believe that if you message Master Cooler, they're going to supply you an AIM-5 rack. I know, but he wanted this done pretty quickly. I think, like, last week is when he hit me up and he's like, how fast can we get it done? So I didn't really have the option of waiting around for a bracket to show up, which you know is going to come from China. At least that's been my experience anytime I reach out for like a part. They're like, yeah, let me send it to you. It'll be there in like 3 weeks. Put the screws back so that way whoever gets this PC will have everything they need to complete the build again. So everything's put back to where it would be. So really, that's all we're pulling out of here is the graphics card and the SSD. Everything else is staying here. Now, I don't know if any other storage would have been in here because it's a 2 terabyte. And it wouldn't make sense for them to use a hard drive. Let me just double check. Nope, no hard drive and no SATA SSDs visible. We've checked all the storage locations and we know for sure it's just the one SSD. We are good to go. We'll put this back together and then probably give this a quick blow actually before I put it back together. So I'm just going to set it aside apart. Power cord. Okay, so what we're going to do is clean this up a little bit. China, that's a long trip. I know exactly. That's what happens. Hey, what's up, Bulldozer? Bazooka Bulldozers. Welcome back to the build show. Well, it can work for any who's going to keep the AIO, yes. Well, it's going to stay with the build. So there's already a purpose for it, so we're not wasting it. It's going to stay with the build, and somebody's getting that build, and they're going to finish it, start using it. He's just moving to AMD. So what I'm going to do, break up some of the dust here with a paintbrush. I like to do this because it breaks up the dust, and then we'll blow it off. This card is going to be vertical, so these fans are going to be visible. And I don't want, like, super gross, dusty looking fans in there. So obviously, we want to try to clean this up a little bit. And some hair in there. All right, let's blow it off. Okay, so that looks much healthier, much cleaner. So all I did was break up the dust with a paintbrush, and then we just took it outside and blew it off real quick to get the dust out of there. The reason why I'm paying attention to the detail on this card is because this is going in a height Y70. The height Y70 is going to have a vertical GPU, and these fans are going to be very visible. So I want to make sure that it's cleaned up the best I can. This is the RTX 5080 Shadow 3X OC by MSI, if anybody was wondering. But with that being said and done, we now have all the hardware we need to move on to the actual build. The B850 motherboard is what we're going to be using tonight. Along with the Ryzen 7 9800X3D, 64 gigs of DDR5, 6000 CL30 PoE by Kingston, which is the RGB version. And then, of course, we have our AM5 secure contact frame by Thermalright. So let's get started with these, and then we'll get the mounting hardware. For the cooler, and then we'll drop that into a case. Should be relatively quick, other than maybe... I don't know why this thing's been, like, acting up with... Been acting up. The camera. Sorry, guys. If it gets out of focus, yell at me. It gets out of focus and I don't notice, yell at me. Yeah, it can work for anybody who's going to keep it, exactly. Yeah, sorry. Kind of misunderstood that the first time I read it. But, here we go. AMD motherboard, which is our B850 Aorus Elite Wi-Fi 7. It's a great, well-balanced board. In my opinion, has the three M.2s. So you have 3 options for storage. We just built on this one yesterday, so it's becoming kind of a popular board for the 800 series for me. Just because of how simple it's been working with it. It's been really, really easy. So probably going to keep using these for this type of caliber build. All right, so get our CPU installed, which is our Ryzen 7 9800X3D. And then we'll get our contact frame in. Pretty late already, 10:42. Hopefully everybody's doing okay on this fine Wednesday day. So I'm not going to close that up because I am going to remove this bracket. And then replace it with the AM5 contact frame by Thermalright. There we go. Then next, we're going to install our 64 gigs of DDR5 6000 CL30 RAM, which, by the way, has been running very well on this board. These kits. I was pleasantly surprised to find these. And next, we're going to install the SSD into the M.2 slot here, top slot. I think this is just a Western Digital Blue. Maybe not. Yeah, it's a Western Digital Blue SN5000. It's a Gen 4 drive. Oh. Seriously? This is kind of how my day's been going. All right, and there we have it. Next, we are going to get our cooler out, which is the Galahad Trinity Performance. I know there's a label on it, but the Galahad 2 Trinity Performance 360mm AIO. Get our mounting hardware. Put an AMD. Guess it uses the stock brackets. I didn't know that. I was pretty sure this cooler actually used different brackets. It's been a while since I've built with this one. Been a little while. Okay, those are ready to go. We can get the case out. Get going on that. But first, let me fight with the camera. Actually surprised they shipped it in a styrofoam. Usually when you pay like $500 for a case, the packaging is a little bit better, but okay. So this is the Height Y70 Touch Infinite. Pretty sure we start by taking the top off. Really want to be careful with that. I don't know if I can. Acting like I should be able to, but I'm just going to leave the front glass. I don't need to remove it. I really don't want to deal with it. And I've built in this case before, I just don't remember what I did. It's also been a while. Not very many times or very many opportunities do we get to build in an expensive case. Not everybody wants to spend the money on the case. Okay, we will have to remove this. When I say this, I mean the GPU support bracket, and that's to get the board in. Oh. Oh, that's an HDMI display. Oh, for the screen. Placed perfectly in front of our HD audio, so we'll have to probably remove that as well. Just so we can get down in there. It's all coming back to me. I kind of remember how big of a pain it was with the support, the vertical brackets, everything already in here, so I'm probably just going to remove this. Save myself the headache. What? Oh my god. You gotta be kidding me. Emphasis on overkill. Okay. There we go. Now we have access to drop the board in here. Which we do have our ATX studs in here ready to go. And then we have our hardware. Okay, motherboard installed. So now we want to get our bottom fans installed. We'll tackle those. We're going to do three of these TL M12 QRs. This is a pack of three. They do daisy chain, so it makes it so that there's just one cable coming off of the set, which slims down on the cable management, which is nice. So we'll do three of those reverse blades on the bottom, and then we're doing reverse blades on the side, and I believe a regular here on the rear, and then we are replacing the fans that come with the cooler with the same fans on the top. A very sleek, very, very sleek RGB look to it. So that way it's not overpowering the screen. You can see the screen and then you still have the RGB in the background, but it's not like blaring in your face. So very sleek looking is the idea. Now, the bottom of this case has a fan panel, which is very, very cool because you can't really get to that panel from underneath here. So they have 3 thumb screws here. There was a dust filter that I took off here. This just comes off, and then you just remove the 3 thumb screws, which are on there pretty good. So it's gonna take a screwdriver, for me anyway, to start these, loosen them up, and remove the panel. Now it's pretty important, obviously. We want to try to keep the orientation. That way we remember how it goes on, how we want the fans to go, because they're reverse blades, so we want the fan facing up and the back side of it facing the panel. And also, we want the cable pointing this way, if we can help that. Hey, what's up, Porcuslar? Welcome back to the Build Show, over there on the Twitch side of things. These are really nice. They connect just like Lian Li and everybody else has going now. They just slide on, connect to one another very easily. And then have this simple connector that plugs in here. And then you have one cable coming off, which has your RGB sync and your PWM connection, which is daisy chainable as well. So, makes it easy. The only downside to these fans is peeling these peels. It sucks. I forgot how much time I'm going to spend doing this. Because they're quick release, quick pull tabs suck. Which, by the way, Thermalbright, not a single one of your pull tabs worked. Which, again, sucked. Alright, so we want to face it this way. Is this gonna work? Or do I have to use 2 fans here? I could have sworn I read 3 120s for the bottom of this. This isn't even gonna work. Why didn't anybody tell me this? Right. So for the record, Heights website does list 3 bottom fans at 120 millimeters supported. But you tell me how 3 120 millimeter fans fit in there. Like stuff. How the bottom fans are a pain in the Y70. Have to puzzle them in first and then bottom plate. Thank you, Chef. You kind of sparked the idea. Take them apart and then put them back together when they're in there. Could have sworn I've done this before. I've built in the Y70 before. And I could have sworn we've dealt with the same problem before. Alright, I'm just going to put this panel on there and then levitate the fans up to the panel and screw them in. What a pain. That is weird looking. Yeah, that's the bottom of a Y70. Height Y70. I bumped the camera. Such a weird design. I love it. That is pure sarcasm, if you didn't guess. Outside of the bottom fans, it's pretty easy to build in. Maybe the cooler is going to be a little bit difficult because we do have the Trinity Performance from Lian Li, which is a little bit more bulky. But I think it'll be fine. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Well, let's just hope that connection stays. Go ahead and get our side fans in. We're already doing fans. We got 3 more 120 millimeter reverse blades for intake on the side. Same fans as the bottom. I almost think I should have put an RGB strip at the bottom to give some glow. Because these fans, they have some RGB. A little bit of power to them, but that glow effect, you know? Would look cool. Holy crap, that one worked. Holy crap, that one worked. Wow, 3 of them worked. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. I hate peels. I hate these peels, guys. Absolutely hate these peels. We're gonna try to target this towards the bottom, lowest point possible, mounting point for these fans. So we still have an AIO that's gonna go in there and cover up some of the top. So the top's gonna fill out. %99 sure I wanted that on the bottom. Hold on, we gotta flip them around. Because I'm picky. So half of it works and the other half doesn't? Hey, Krakens. Have you ever used or been hands-on with a Thermal Grizzly contact frame before? Yes. Yes, I have. What's the question on it? Yo, what's up, Killa? How's the build going? It's coming along. Right now we're installing fans in the Height Y70. Touch Infinity. Did you have to buy any of the adapters for it, like backplate or screw adapters? No. The backplate is comes with the motherboard, so it mounts to the backplate on the motherboard. So you don't have to buy the backplate because it comes with your motherboard. If you buy a motherboard without that backplate, then that's a different story. But you would just be mounting it to the backplate. And keep the stock cooler mounting brackets on, because as soon as you remove both the mounting brackets and the screws for the stock contact frame, that plate just becomes loose on the back. If you look on the back here, you got the screws for the cooler mounting brackets, and then the screws here for the stock contact frame. As soon as you remove all 8 of the screws, that bracket on the back of the board becomes loose. So don't do that. Keep the stock brackets mounted while you're installing the contact frame, and then the bracket won't go anywhere. And then I can't remember if Thermal Grizzly sends you screws, but I'm pretty sure you're going to have to use screws that they send you. Yeah, you do. Yeah, they should send you screws. So the bracket's there on the board. And if you want a cheaper alternative that's basically the same thing, Thermalright makes an AM5 contact frame for like $7 or something like that on Amazon. And it's literally the same thing. Maybe a little bit less accuracy in the machining, but I have yet to find one that hasn't fit right, so... Still doing PUBG, bro? Hey, what's up, person? What's up, dude? Yes, still doing PUBG. I actually haven't played PUBG since July, I want to say. Mike Thompson, welcome back to the Build Show. Sorry, I missed everybody's chat there from a couple minutes ago, a few minutes ago. But heads down trying to get these silly fans in, and then if you install the fans the wrong way, first time, takes double the amount of time. But we got the bottom fans in, we got the side fans in, so now we can install an AIO, I think. Thinking? What are you thinking? You thinking? Hey, Geesh, right? What's up, 3XDXXD? Hello. Hope you've all, or I hope you've been well. I've been good. I've been as good as you can possibly be for a hump day in a endless work week. We're working on the Touch Infinite. I'm sorry, the Touch Infinity. No, the Touch Infinite. Touch Infinite. I gotta say it right. Which has touched my work week with infinite amount of work. That's why we're streaming so late, turned out today was a very long day. Thanks, Microsoft. No, it actually wasn't Microsoft's fault. It was the fact that the East 1 region went down and caused a lot of headaches everywhere with anybody using the East 1 region data centers. Hey, Ben, what's up? Estrino. Who's an Estrino around here? What's the Touch Infinite? Are you out of touch? This is the Height Y70 Touch Infinite. It has a touchscreen on the front of it. That's what this cardboard is protecting, currently. But it's a very large dual chamber case with a cool touchscreen and really, really good airflow and super easy to build in outside of the bottom fans, I will say. But it's a great ATX large sized case. Very good looking. It's like the new gotta have it case, although the price makes you not want to have it. It's very expensive for a case. Expensive for a case. All right, so what we are going to do, though, this is our AIO cooler, is we're going to remove these fans and we're going to replace them with the same fans that we've already put in the system. Removing them now. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Yeah. These are actually really nice fans. I have a whole bunch of them floating around here. So here are the three fans we're going to replace it with. Hey, what's up, Tony? Welcome back to the Build Show. The late night Build Show. Oh my gosh, that worked. Oh my gosh, it worked again. Third time. The peels worked. Let's see if we can do all 6 of them. We got all 6 peels that time. So that's what? 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 peels out of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 fans. That actually worked. I would say it's not bad, but it's actually pretty bad. Orgeslore, boot. Oh no. Can you delete it? Yes. I think I can. And it's gone. We don't like them evil clinkers around here. Got it. Right now I'm gonna be my own mod tonight. Started a little too late for anybody to be around. And in their defense, I've been streaming like every single night, so it's like becoming a full-time job. Would not blame them for looking at the Empower Gaming Computers Gone Live and then say, fuck you. Excuse my language. Shouldn't have said that. Screw you. We want to have a night off. For the record, it's mostly some giant idiots. There are a couple others. Okay, that didn't take forever. A few minutes. Now, we can mount a cooler. Really flimsy metal for the cost of this case. Bracket feels really flimsy. Not too impressed. This bracket does come out and you can install the cooler and then remount the bracket, which would be an option, but I'm kind of taking a shortcut and doing it this way. But this bracket, I will say, feels extremely flimsy, like bouncy. And again, the money I would pay for this case, I would expect no flimsy bracket. I mean, this is a pretty hefty radiator cooler. But I mean, I don't know if you can see it actually in the camera, but it's pretty flimsy. Okay, so now that that is done, you get the fan plugged in, or at least sent to the back, ready for plugging in. But this is where we're at. It's coming along. Honra, a lot of people gotta hate me for what I gotta say, but I don't like all those height fish tank cases. Yeah. Well, I think they look cool. I think they're really easy to build in outside of the bottom fans. I think that design could have been a little bit better. But overall, some of the build quality I complain about, but it's a really fancy looking case. So, if you want fancy, this is definitely something you want to go after. And it does do pretty well in the airflow department. The Y60 was a problem for some of the bigger cards because the card was so close to the glass panel that it would just suffocate the card. So somebody on Etsy created a plexiglass panel with a mesh, half mesh and half plexiglass, so that your graphics card could breathe while still having a panel on there, which was a nice mod for the Y60. But they fixed that with the Y70 by just making the case wider, which is, I think, what they should have done with the Y60, and that would have made the Y60 just that much better. I mean, of course, people are going to shove a 5090 in that cool looking case. Why wouldn't they? You know? We have 8 textures? Don't have to run that one, I don't think. We already have the pump here. Technically, we don't have to run that one, but we do have to run this one for controlling the RGB. This is just to sync the fans and the RGB. We don't need that one. Technically. Don't need it. There's already a bazillion cables on the block anyway. So, put it on. Put it on there right onto the back. Don't need this cable, but I'm going to just put it on there anyway. This case looks like a nightmare to work around that weird pillar. This is actually a touch panel. That is why that's there. You can take that off and remove it. I'm being lazy and not doing that. Trying to avoid having to. That's typically how I'll build in this case, because it saves me time having to remove it and put it back on. So call me lazy, maybe. Call me maybe lazy. What? Yeah. Where's the pasty? It's gonna look nice when it's done. Not gonna lie. Not gonna lie at all. Oh, I don't know why the focusing gets out of focus. Refocus. Focus. Pretty sure that's a pump. Should be. Pump header here. Clean that up. That looks 1,000 times better. Ant-Man. Welcome back to the Build Show. Tony, okay, I was wondering if that was a touch panel under the cool. Yes, this is the Y70 Touch Infinite, which is, it's got the touch panel on it, on the height Y70. Ant-Man, what's up? My PC just started randomly going to black when idle for a few minutes and boot into Windows recovery option. Could it be Windows 11 25H2 update bug? Could be. Could be. At first I thought maybe my GPU, but it's only a year old. Sounds actually very familiar, like, as in it sounds like one of those SSD problems. I still think the Montech King 95 looks better. Yeah, it's because you've seen me building it a few times. Once you see this thing up and running, you'll be like, okay, it's pretty cool. Yes, the King 95 Pro is definitely a solid case as well. All right, so next, fans, I got that sync cable for this PWM cable over there, and I didn't have plugged in. Then we got a couple more zip ties here. Then we can move on to the back fan. Then we can start planning the GPU install. Nice. Clean. What we want. Get that rear fan installed and then start talking about a GPU install, maybe. My M.2 got last year Black Friday. Crucial P3 Gen 5. Ooh, 4 terabytes. Wasn't that part of that list? On the list that Jay's 2 cents identified had the issue with that Windows update? Where the controllers were crashing. It's not that your SSD is failing, it was Windows causing the controller to crash. But I think it was under a load, so maybe it's not the same issue. I can't remember. It's actually been a little while since that was happening. But it kind of reminds me of that problem. Gen 4, I meant. Yeah. Okay. Get some front panel connectors in. Finally. Got USB-C, USB 3, front panel. I think we got it. What do we do with this? Kind of need it to travel underneath where the power supply is going to be. Don't really care that it's underneath the power supply. Need it to go underneath it. Bracket. Not really removable. The other option is to split. Go. All of our fan header board is all down below. The case fan. I can split it, leave the RGB up there. I'm just gonna try this. Oops, that one in there. All right. And hopefully there's enough slack to get around it. Hello? That was kind of a pain. I remember it the last time very well. It was a pain. How long ago did that problem occur? I think I want to say it was like August. It wasn't too long ago. And I don't know if Windows ever fixed that. Or Microsoft ever fixed it. Pretty sure they did, because kind of just people stopped talking about it, so magically disappeared. There's that. So, literally all we have left is put a graphics card in, put a power supply in, of this vertical bracket as well. But both of those, and then cable management, we're clearing this thing back up. Not too shabby. There it is. GPU is mounted. Looks so much smaller, vertical, than what it did in the other one. This case is also massive. So, might be part of the reason. Oh, trying to get some weight to it too. Okay, so next is we deal with the cooler RGB connections, which we still have to complete. We got RGB fans and an RGB pump or block on top of the CPU, which needs to get plugged into an RGB port. If I remember correctly, it was right there at the top. Yeah. And then the last things we got to plug in is power. Do a bit of cable management here. Oh boy, that got out of hand. Quick. Okay. Going to SATA. This bit isn't going to do anything. It needs to be bundled up and laid to rest. Poor decisions. Now! Thought I felt that. Since switching to PC, I learned how to fix all the errors I come across. That's good. Being self-efficient. Good. Okay, everybody must be asleep. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's asleep. I started pretty late. And it's, midnight. So... Is that a hard drive tray? Looks weird. You mean that? Yes. I fell asleep in my computer chair after work. I wish I could have done that. I needed it. I needed a little nappy poo today. Oh, LOL, it's only 10 p.m. where I am. Nice. I need a VPN when browsing the dark net. What? Hey man, stay off the dark web stuff. And Darknet has interesting news. That is so random. Porgalslore says over on Twitch. I don't know, man. Reading it from the YouTube chat. Has been a very quiet night, though. Almost there, guys. We're very close. Got to finish mounting this, run these power cables, put a few zip ties in. We're ready to fire it up. Why do people think the dark web is bad? Anything that sounds scary is going to sound bad. Nice and clean. Is it possible to have a physical onion router that relay your IP through different nodes? I mean, yeah. Possible. That's okay. Oh, for fuck's sake. How is that? Whatever. As good as it's gonna get. All right. I think we are finally ready. Ready to fire this thing up. Are you guys ready? Were you in another stream earlier? No, Ant-Man, I was not. Or maybe you were talking to Tony. I wasn't. I was here working. All right. Who's finally ready to see this thing fired up for the first time? Let's go. Yeah. It's been a night. I actually don't know if Sam's here or not. Or if I should be calling him Sam or Sammy. Sammy? Or is it Sam I? I don't know. I'm terrible with English. What's up, Loop? Welcome back to the Build Show. 700 builds in 2023. That's a lot. Yes. It's 733 builds last couple years ago. Okay, a countdown. You gotta... I don't know if, Sam, if you are here, you just tell us to push the power button and we'll push it. Your call. Your build. Do a countdown. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we have launch. Waiting for that initial post, and then the RGB will kick in. Looks expensive. Yes. Let's see if it looks better than the Montech King 95, Porgosaur says over on the Twitch side. Beasley Buzz. Very nice build, thank you. Let's go. Fire that bad boy up, Tony says. Waiting for that post. So the screen, I don't think is going to show anything. Unless it shows our post screen, which I don't think it's going to. But not until we get into Windows and probably set up drivers and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to show anything. Did display an initial height logo. But we do have 64 gigs of RAM, so there is a little bit of a delay for the post, so we'll see. 64 gigs of RAM is a little slow on the initial post. Looks like it's gonna do it here, maybe. Maybe a reboot, something. Bro. So it's still stuck on the DRAM light. So I'm assuming it's just DDR5 64 gigs doing its thing, memory training. This is another reboot. Taking its time. I hate DDR5 sometimes. Gives me anxiety on the first boot. And it's going to be such a pain in the butt if I have to replace this RAM. Am I the only one that's in love with the Founder? No, there's quite a few people that like the Founders cars. Founders Edition cards. A lot of people like those. Another reboot. Okay, this is getting a little long. There we go. Well, the BIOS ended up showing up on the side screen here, so it says to enable X3D turbo mode. Not going to enable that yet, but we do have a post. Our screen's built in. There you have it. It finally posted, but that was how long a fresh build with, you know, DDR5 64 gigs takes to post. Sometimes it takes a little while. It just takes time to go through the memory training process. But after it gets through its first initial run, and then we get the XMP or Expo profile set, should be a lot faster going forward. Steve Anderson, what's up, man? Welcome back to the Build Show. And for those of you who can't see, show you I don't know if you can see the bottom fans. The bottom fans have a little bit of RGB going in there as well. So if you're standing or looking at the computer from the front, from this side in, you can see the RGB glowing underneath the GPU, which is kind of cool. I think if we had a little bit more glow to that coming out from the basement up to the GPU, it would look really cool, because it's really hard to see from like the side. And I've done that before. I've added a little bit of glow to the bottom of these height cases, and it looked good. But we're not going through all that on this one. So there it is. The Height Y70. Touch Infinite. Infinite. With the Intel transformation to AMD. Montech King 95 looks better, but this looks cool too. The fans make it look better, yes. So these are those Thermal Right fans that Daisy Chain, it's the, what is it, the TLM 120, or I'm sorry, TLM 12Q. And then with a mixture of the TLM 12QR, R being reversed blades. Hey, what's up, Steve Anderson? Welcome back to the Build Show, sir. You doing a second build tonight? No, this is it for me tonight. Just the one tonight, which I got started pretty late on anyway. So we went pretty late already. Ah, neat. Yes. Tony says, hey, Steven. Tony. It most likely kind of late for him. Yeah. No, well, like I said, I got started pretty late, so I originally wasn't going to do a build tonight, and I was going to play catch-up, but I got all my catch-up done and then did the build stream, which is why we got started pretty late. And my schedule kind of got sidewinded by all the US East outages. So, turned out to be a pretty busy day. Just telling people there's nothing I can do. But now you can see why I wanted to clean up the card, because the fans are very, very visible. So cleaning the dust out of the card was ideal, especially when we're gonna make the card vertical and visible like that. Card's a lot smaller than I thought it was. It's the MSI Shadow 3 X3 by MSI. It's the RTX 5080. Did you see Neo, the new home AI helper, Ben? No, I did not. Why does everything keep going down recently? I don't know. I don't know what the deal is. But it impacted a lot of AWS stuff, a lot of Azure stuff, and Microsoft 365 services and things like that. Stevie has 3 more inventory bills. I do have 2 inventory builds, but I'm going to save those for another day. We've got 2 builds tomorrow, though. Assuming the motherboard and the power supply, individually waiting on those parts, motherboard for one and power supply for the other, show up, we can do those builds. And we'll be doing them tomorrow. We should be starting around our normal time. Unless... my daughter's got volleyball awards, so if I do go to the awards, I probably wouldn't get started until around 9:30 Eastern. So we might start later tomorrow. We'll see how it goes. Pushes us right into NFL airtime with the Thursday night football. Dun 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 dun. Or that's Monday night football or Sunday. I can't remember. Yeah, I'll look it up. Ugh. If you haven't noticed, I'm burnt out, guys. Looking forward to the weekend off, where I have to drive for like 3 hours one way and then 3 hours back the other way out of town for a wedding. So there you have it. Sam's build number 109 is completed. It's built. We still got to do the software side of things, but that's what we got. So off to bed I go, and tomorrow's another day, and we'll be back again somewhere between 8 p.m. and I'll say 10 p.m. just for everybody's sanity. We'll be live again tomorrow, building a couple more builds. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow night. Have a happy Wednesday and a good Thursday tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. Have a good night, guys.